G'day folks, it's Rob here, and in today's clip I'll be harvesting some of the ginger we've been growing as a perennial down in this wicking bed and using some of the rhizome to start off some new pouches to grow for the coming season, and also give you a couple of tips and pointers along the way for overwintering your ginger. So this isn't a complete how to grow clip. If you do want to check out my how to grow guide for ginger, all you need to do is click on that little link up there where I run through container growing in the ground, also some cool climate tips. So suss that out after you watch this one, and I'll stop nattering on, flip the camera on the phone around, and we'll get cracking. So here's our perennial ginger crop, and as you can see, there's not a lot to actually see on the top here. That's because we get all the leaves as they die back, and there's a couple of fallen mango leaves in there as well, and we just pop them over the top of the ginger and just leave it in the bed. And just to show you how well it overwinters, I mean, there's sections here that look like, you'd pick them off the shelf in the supermarket. We've got it going all the way over to the other side of the bed. And it handles our very mild winters very well here. Just down here, by the way, is a different type of ginger. It was given to us as Cambodian ginger, and we have a feeling it's called Pon Lai locally in Cambodia, and it overwinters just fine as well, as does turmeric in our climate here too. Now, if you are in a cooler climate, unlike ours, it is a good idea to remove some rhizome and overwinter it somewhere dry if you live somewhere that has hard freezes in the ground, or you get a lot of rainfall through winter. If there's a lot of moisture in the soil, it can tend to rot in the ground. So I would suggest, if you are in cooler regions, just to take off some of this root that you're not going to process for the kitchen, and just pop it in something nice and dry, like some sand, dry sand, or I've used coconut coir in the past, and just keep it somewhere nice and cool through winter, not freezing of course, but just cool, and then you can plant it out come the end of winter or spring, or whenever things start to warm up in your neck of the woods. Like I said, there's a how to grow clip. There'll be a link down in the description, and you can suss that out for other points in growing your ginger itself. So as I said, we have been treating this as our perennial ginger plot, so just coming out here whenever we need bits of ginger and using it in the kitchen. But as it's been in here for 4 years, you can see the soil has fallen quite a bit, around about half a foot or 150 millimeters. So my plan is to actually harvest as much ginger as I can out of here today. We're starting with the officinale, and then I'm going to feed up the bed with some new soil just to give it some more nutrition, and then later on I'll plant some of this ginger back out here. But I'm also wanting to start some off in some root pouches up on the deck. So the main aim of today is getting enough to start off the next crop, and getting some to process for the kitchen. This ginger here, because it's been in here for so many years, it's shared the bed with a few different volunteers. We've got our beautiful sunshine chili here, and she's starting to fruit again already. Normally she gives us the most beautiful yellowy orange fruit on her. We've also had the bed taken over a few times by these guys down here. These are the Warrigal Greens, and more recently some bats or possums have dropped some papaya seeds in here from the plant that was growing in the bed next to it. So we've got a couple of volunteer papayas in here as well. So just before we get started, I thought I'd show you something we harvested the other week. This is a section I took out that has some of this year's growth on it, and this older, darker piece of ginger I would say is the year before, and it's still very firm and nice and hard. This one here from last year's growth has already got a little growth point on it. So we were going to use this in some cooking upstairs, but I decided once I saw that, I'm going to keep this one, and we'll use that to plant out in one of the pouches up on the deck. But I thought I'd just bring this down as well. I mean, weighing this up, the harvest, really doesn't make much sense because we've been harvesting it continually, but people like to see how much of a yield you get. So I thought I'd do that anyway. Now, to cleaning back all this mulch. I don't want to lose too much of it because I want to pop it over the top of the bed again. So I'll just push it to one side, and I will be pulling out these Warrigal Greens because I don't really want them to grow in here again. Just to give you a bit of a closer look. And we've got some nice growth out to the right there, and pretty much all goes the whole way over the bed and down to the other side of that chili bush there. So this is the main bit I will be harvesting, as I said before, and we'll worry about the other ginger down there at a later date. So we'll start with this section from around the sunshine chili. It comes off pretty easily. So we've got some nice firm bits there, but you can see where the previous year's growth has started to get a little bit mushy and rotten. We can just cut that off, still usable. We have this section here, which again looks like the previous years and has gone very mushy. We'll just break that off and maybe just leave it down the back here to compost. And there's some more, but still, you know, some very usable bits of ginger there. And this bit here is trying to shoot as well. So I'm finding quite a lot of the old bits of ginger that are slowly starting to rot. But as you can see, you know, they're still trying to put out some life from these smaller sections. This bit here just at the end, no great loss though. So just try and lift some of these now with the fork. I don't want to go too fork crazy because I don't want to damage the chili plant too much. There we go. Oh, got some nice sections down in here. Haven't seen it grow a root like that before. There's a big bit there that has started to rot. But on the whole, most of this ginger looks to be fine. Now, I just got to be careful because some of this stuff down here is actually the pond lye growing across. Actually can tell the difference fairly easily. This has got a lot smoother skin, a lot more ridges on the pond lye with a lot more of these little bumps around it. So it's pretty easy to tell the difference. And we've got one little clump down over here, growing amongst the pond lye. And I think that's pretty much all it, these last two bits. So there you go, folks. Not a bad little harvest, considering I've pretty much well done nothing to get this yield. But water the bed and give it a bit of compost here and there. Now we'll go up and select the bits I want to use to replant. And yeah, get the rest washed up ready for processing in the kitchen. So time to weigh this stuff up, folks, just to give you a rough idea. I'm not going to clean it off first. Mainly because, yeah, I don't really want to clean bits that I'm going to be planning out. So hopefully we can fit it all on this one plate. And I will be taking off any of these manky looking bits as well. So just trying to tuck these last few small pieces in. Are they all going to stay? There we go. So we have 1.9 kilograms. There are a few bits that I've left out. They're a little bit manky, and I've left these little bits out just to make up for any dead bits that may be on there and other root sections. So yeah, almost 2 kilograms, which is what, that's probably around about 4 pounds ish. Now, just to give you some idea of how much money we've saved by growing this if we were to eat it all, one of the big stupid markets here in Australia at the moment have their ginger listed at $49 Australian on their website. So that's per kilo. So we're just under $100 worth of ginger just sitting on this little plate here. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like I said though, you know, we're not saving this. This will be planted out into these pouches I've just prepared down here. Now what I need to do is work out which bits I want to sow out. Obviously this bit here from before, I want to have a bit of a crack at that, so I'll be saving that whole section to plant out in a root pouch. And what I'm looking for is 6 sections. I want 2 sections in each root pouch, and by the way, they're 39 litres or 10-gallon root pouches I'm using. This bit here has got an eye on it as well that's starting to grow. I mean, you don't need to look for that when you are looking for sections to plant out. It's just the time of year here, things are warming up and they're starting to send out little eyes, so that's why we're starting to see them here. Now this bit here, yeah, that'll be all right. It would grow, but there's not a lot of weight to it, not a lot of stored energy in there. So what I'd probably tend to do is just put this one to one side and we'll process that up in the kitchen along with those other smaller bits there. I think I'll take this bit here. I will snap it off around about, we'll keep the root section, and that can be number 3. The other thing I'm looking for is this year's growth. You can probably tell, as I mentioned before, that the darker tends to be from the season previous, and this lighter section here is from this season. This section here though got damaged by the look on the fork when I was digging some out a while ago, so I don't want to keep that section to plan out. But what I might do is I might use this little section here. So that's 4 bits. That can go to be processed, so can this one from last season and that damaged section. And I think this section here would be a good one to start off. It's got a few root sections on it already. So I'm running after one more section, and I think I found it here. This little bit here. This little section here has got a couple of little eyes on him. So that will round out our 6. So just quickly, I had mentioned in the How to Grow clip that it is a good idea for these wounds to heal over with your ginger. I'm not too concerned with these pieces here, mainly because they're so fresh. They've just come straight out of the ground and I don't think they'll rot away at all. Now when it comes down to the size of ginger that is good to plant out, I used to work off the rule of anything over around about 50 mil or 2 inches was a decent size. I've since learned that it's better to weigh them up. Anything over 50 grams is a good start. So my slightly more accurate scales here will tell me that this one is 55, I was closer to 56 grams. And this slightly larger one, which is more like the other pieces, is around about 90 grams. So yeah, both decent sized bits of ginger to start off the next crop. So these are our 6 sections for the root pouch, and I'm just going to go through the basket here and find some more from this year's growth that we can pop back out into the bed. That bit there, that's got a little bit of rotten stuff on it. There's a nice little small section. Oh, there's a nice big section. I don't want to plant all of that, so I might rob a little bit to go up into the kitchen and pop him out. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. And I think that might do it, so that's what will make it up into the kitchen, plus a lot of that pond life from out the back. That old bit, yeah, you can go up too. So I'll put these guys to one side, and now we can start planting out into the pouches. So these pouches obviously have already been filled. What I did was I half filled them with a good quality potting mix. Then I added in a handful of the slow release organic fertilizer pellets I like to use. And then I also added in a good handful of the activated rock minerals. It's rock minerals plus some organic matter and inoculated bacteria to help break them down to make them available to the plants. So we'll get one long one in each pouch to start off with. Normally I'd probably recommend only doing one in these guys, but I know there's a load of nutrition in there. Now to plant these guys out, it really isn't that hard. All you're wanting to do is probably bury them, I don't know, about probably anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches, so 25 mil to 50 mil below the surface. It's as easy as that. And same again, whoop, I just broke a bit off that one. You can go to the kitchen. This one down in there, this one over here, and then these guys here. So I'll turn him around that way. And this one, even though I don't have to, I will point that bud upwards. And there we go. That's pretty much all it. Now these guys here will go up onto our deck. We'll pop them in some little trays to stop the water dripping through downstairs. And yeah, I'll give you updates through the season as they grow. Now for you folks interested in how we use this ginger, one of our favourite dishes recently has been either pak choy or some bok choy, like you can see growing in the aquaponics behind us there. Slice it in half and add it into a fry pan along with some minced ginger, minced garlic, a splash of soy sauce and a drizzle of sesame oil just before serving. And we normally plate that up next to some braised meat. Absolutely fantastic dish. And of course we throw it into all the stir fries and make up little teas and infusions with it as well. So definitely one plant we will continue to grow here. One of my favourite plants to grow actually. So if you enjoyed that look at the small harvest folks, and also how we're starting off some of next year's crop in those pouches for the deck upstairs. Don't forget that there is that growing guide. I'll pop a link down in the description, and a little thumbnail will pop up at the end along with one for the aquaponics. For you folks who are curious as to how we grow in the aquaponics here, I would like to thank you all for coming along and sussing out the clips and giving them a thumbs up. Many thanks as well to those folks supporting us on the Farm Your Own Yard platform and also the YouTube membership program. Thank you very much folks, really do appreciate it. Please check out our super contributors, links in the description down below. But I will pretty much all leave it there. I do hope you're all well and your gardens are booming, and I will catch you next clip. Cheers folks, and have a top one.